All right, so here's the thing. Amy Nicholson is so plugged in that she actually saw Cars 2, which I didn't see. So now I want Amy to talk about Cars 2 in a super duper early review.
Whoa.
What do you think, Amy?
Cars 2. All right. Cars 2 is the sequel to Cars. Obviously, that came out in 2006. It's also known, the original Cars is also known as one of the 2 worst films Pixar's ever done. They've entered 8 films into the Academy Award Animated Film Competition. They've won 6 times. The 2 times they didn't were the first Cars, Monsters 2, and probably this year, I'm going to bet. Here's the thing. What's interesting to me about the Cars franchise, well, first let me back up. Cars 2 takes the story of Lightning McQueen, who's a race car, who lives in kind of an Arkansas sort of area of America, and he gets entered to join the World Grand Prix, which is a race car tour that goes from Japan to Italy to England, and it's sponsored by this guy who kind of looks like a Hummer named Sir Miles Axelrod, who used to be a car who was really into gasoline and converted himself to electricity. So Lightning McQueen is going around the world racing and trying to beat this Italian sports car while his best friend, a tow truck mater, joins him and gets caught up in a car espionage scheme that's sort of helmed by Bruce Campbell, who plays like this kind of Dodge Challenger and who's like an American spy, and then Michael Caine as like a 1960s Aston Martin who has like these missiles that come out of his fenders, and also by Emily Mortimer as a just generic pink car because she's a girl, so they don't really do anything special with her. And I think we're going to see a clip where we see Mater in Japan.
I gotta go. Sorry, ladies. I'm leaking. I never leak. 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 Oh, I never leak. Oh, I never leak. I never leak. Never. Whoa, wait. What the? Hey, that tickle.
So you might be asking, why would Pixar, this amazing Titanic company, do a sequel to their least successful film, when the only sequels they've ever done in their career are to Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 3? And there are 1 billion reasons why they did this, and that's the number of toys that Cars has sold since 2006. The movie did nothing at the box office, but every little kid has got a talking car, or like 12 of them. So they're bringing Cars 2 back for another merchandising push, and what they've done that's smart, and I kind of enjoy it visually, is they've decided to sell even more toys by adding like airplanes that talk, by adding boats that talk and helicopters that talk. So it's like a whole world of talking machines with no drivers. Cars 2 is better than Cars. I think I can say that pretty definitively. I don't know if that's a huge compliment, but what they do well is that you can tell that John Lasseter really cared about capturing like the feel of all the countries that they went to. Like it's almost as much about the countries that Mater visits as it is about any of the spy mechanics that are going on in the film. And they really do capture it. There's just like a 30-second montage where he drives through Paris, and it's really charming. And I heard that the Cars 2 team actually took field trips to Italy and to England and to Japan and just sketched Cars to really get a sense of it. And you can feel that they're basically saying to their boss, John Lasseter, hey, thanks so much for giving us a chance to travel the world. We're going to make this movie look as nice as possible. Cars 2 isn't painful, and I think a lot of people are going to cringe at Larry the Cable Guy. We can just be frank about it because he does most of the talking in the movie. And if you don't like America being represented by a guy with like a corn-pone kind of accent who, I don't think he does one smart thing. It's almost like a plot point in the film that he's incredibly intelligent. They think it's like a ruse, that he's a spy who's just pretending to be dumb. If that doesn't bother you to have America represented by that, and so to some people it would be a badge of honor or like say a bumper sticker on the back of their car, then I think you will find moments to love in this film, as I sort of did against my will. And one of the things I found really special about Cars 2, well, not special, let me back up from that. One of the things I found interesting about Cars 2 is that we all know John Lasseter is the head of Pixar, but he's taken sort of a sabbatical from directing. Like the last film he directed was in 2006, and that was the first Cars. And so for him to come back and direct a second film, which is really only the second film he's directed, honestly, in 10 years, shows that it's like the big boss of Pixar is stepping in and saying, I know this is our weakest link, but I'm going to do what I can to make it great. And so if you're going to make a movie about talking cars, this is probably the best you can do. Because I don't think Herbie talked, right? He just flashed his lights.
Horn.
It was
Horn. Yeah, no, these people can form sentences, so therefore it wins.
That's evolution.
Yeah.
It's car evolution.
So I'm giving it a rent, because if I had a kid, I would probably rent it, and they would watch it, and they would be very happy, and I could do something else for 2 hours.
You know, it's interesting because when you, and I haven't seen the film, but when you look at it, you realize why the sequel takes place all over the world. Because 70% of box office grosses now are, for American films, are generated overseas.
It's true.
And what's happening now is you get these animated films that take place in all these different countries, and a lot of these countries are getting homegrown local talent to voice, you know, cameo voice some of these cars.
Yeah,
You know, and so there's something so disingenuous or manufactured about that whole thing. Like, you can't just make a movie. It's now got to be a movie, and we'll talk about this later when Chad comes on. But you got to make a movie that somehow caters to all the emerging international markets that are happening, and how do we do that?
Yeah, no, I hear you, but the thing is, I don't find that disingenuous. I find it kind of sweet that we're embracing other cultures and realizing that there's a life outside of the 405. And
That I disagree with.
well, it's about time you free your mind, mister. I think it's just very sweet. I mean, and there's a Japanese geisha car in this, and I hope that gives lots of little Japanese boys their first autoerotic fantasy.
Oh! Come on, get up!
Whoa!
There! Take a swig!
I'll just drink more. I guess that's about what I had to say.
Yeah. All right, so there you go. So Cars 2. So this comes out in a couple weeks. So it's not quite there
Next
yet.
Friday.
Comes out next Friday. So Amy Nicholson kind of likes Cars 2.